Oh boy, just so much DCEU news. I'm just going to put it all in one video rather than do several. It saves time, you know. So, a lot of people coming back thanks to Snyder Cut. Yes, everything revolves around Snyder Cut for DC and Warner Brothers and HBO Max, and all that stuff is riding on it big time. And for now, there's a lot of pull on that. So, done a video on this before. Is like, hey, with all the scandals concerning Amber Heard, how could she be around? Because she was in the Snyder Cut, and it's just too much damn trouble to recast it and reshoot all those scenes that she had been in and replace it with someone else and all that kind of stuff. Said, nah, we're stuck. She'll be there, and she will be in Aquaman 2 for that very reason, I suspect. Now, hey, look, Snyder Cut tanks. Well, we might have to rethink that. But there's going to be an Aquaman 2 regardless. Aquaman made $1 billion. So there you go. Despite following a crappy movie like Justice League. That's why you can't just abandon all this, and I'll get into that later. Even if Snyder Cut poops the bed. Yeah. And you still can go forward with other franchises of the other characters and whatnot, because it's already been demonstrated. Wonder Woman did well, Aquaman did well, and so it's not, oh my god, panic, because panicking is what got you in trouble from the get-go. Anyway, so yeah, she'll be back. There's stories about, oh, she'll have a decreased role in the sequel to Aquaman, maybe, because nothing good comes out about her now, and that whole thing with her and Johnny Depp. Not a Depp fan myself, but from what I can see from that, she's the villain in that story, not him. So, meanwhile, can Ryan Reynolds come back as Green Lantern? Well, apparently, according to Grace Randolph, according to this, I'm looking at Cosmic Book News on all this, there's going to be an announcement soon. So don't have one yet. Probably by the time I post my video, it'll already be out, and this will look stupid. But he's kind of teased it. He's played jokes around about the Snyder Cut and whatnot, and it's been talked about a great deal. There's a lot about it that makes sense, especially if they're still pursuing this buddy cop movie idea about introducing Jon Stewart. And by now, Ryan Reynolds can fill the role of the elder Green Lantern, being a mentor to a new Green Lantern, and then Jon Stewart becomes the main Green Lantern for Justice League and whatnot. And perhaps there could be a 3-picture deal or whatnot for Hal Jordan to have his story in space and all that stuff, and him battling with Sinestro. All that could happen as well. You know, you can see where it goes. But so apparently there's going to be some announcement over this, yay or nay, that he might have shot a few scenes very simply to put him in the scene. There is a scene where Batman, or Bruce Wayne, I guess, at his little boathouse there you saw in Batman vs. Superman, he's approached by Green Lanterns. And it's sort of like a teaser thing at the end of the Justice League story that Zack Snyder intended. And the scenes with Bruce Wayne and all that has been shot. So you just got a CGI in your Green Lanterns. And I had thought it would be the alien ones, Tomari and Kilowog. And it might be, but he might add in Hal Jordan, perhaps played by Ryan Reynolds, and then it just sort of links his movie, and perhaps there'll be a redesign of the suit and all that. But anyway, makes mention that this is a kind of, might be a shot at Jeff Johns, because the Green Lantern movie was a Jeff Johns project and it bombed, and then here comes Zack taking his Green Lantern and doing it right. Maybe there's something to that as well. But so there you go. Because of the power of Snyder Cut, and if Zack Snyder wants Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Reynolds is agreeable to that, he can make it happen now, and he'll just appear in it. Now, of course, there again, Snyder Cut bombs, then there's no more Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, perhaps, you know. But this also goes into, apparently Feige just doesn't like Deadpool and won't, we just don't know why. It was very successful, but then there's the problems of Disney and R-rated characters and all that, and what do? They don't know what to do with him. And Ryan Reynolds is like, look, I don't know, you don't have forever. And then meanwhile, he's being teased and lured well, come back and play over here. And the opportunity to do it right and win that back might be something that would draw him in. To show that, yeah, he can do it. Now, the thing about Green Lantern, he wasn't the problem. It was just a terrible story. It had a ginormous plot hole in it. And that's why it failed. More times than not, these things that fail, it's not so much the actor, it's the whole, the project itself, and no amount of talent or star or whatever can save it. So, meanwhile, so this is actually a brief comment, and I don't know what you can draw from it entirely, but Keaton said he could not confirm that he will be Batman in the Flash movie, and it's all very brief with Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel says, hey, you're going to be Batman again in the Flash movie. Can you confirm that? And he says, I can't confirm anything. And then he dodges the whole thing to make jokes about him being Jimmy Kimmel being a comic book fan, and you're a Spider-Man guy, right? And Kimmel mentioned, I'm going to play Kraven the Hunter and all that sort of stuff. So the deal is not done yet, apparently. And there may be negotiations are still ongoing, or he's just brushing it off and saying, I can't talk about it. And that's just the simple thing. And if you say anything about it, it might lead to something else, and then you get in trouble. You revealed something you weren't supposed to. Whatever. I'm kind of surprised by it that if there's no deal at all with all the hype and stuff that was done about it. But it may just be that he's going to be in there. But that it certainly can't confirm any of the discussions of a Batman Beyond movie or a Batgirl movie where he mentors Batgirl and all that type of stuff that's been tossed around, that there might be more deals for him to pursue this character beyond the Flash movie and all that sort of stuff. And all of that's not set in stone either, because, but then again, you can sign him up for something like that, but if the Flash movie bombs and all that, it's not going to happen. That happens all the time. So, I still think he's in, but yeah, it's an interesting little tidbit. But basically, all he said is he doesn't want to talk about it. So that's not really a denial that he's going to do the movie. And then finally, so J.J. Abrams met with Henry Cavill about Superman. Now, earlier on, there was rumors about, and it stood to reason since he signed the deal with Warner, with his Bad Robot Company, and they announced these shows, and one of them was Justice League Dark, and I figured, that's the main thing that he's going to do for them as far as DC goes. But there were rumors that he wanted to tackle Superman and Green Lantern, and then the rumor was that he was going to replace Henry Cavill with a new actor. David Cornsweet was a name tossed around, and all that sort of stuff. And that this might even fit in with the new Batman with Robert Pattinson and all that, and that this new Superman would be the Batman that meets the Superman who meets Robert Pattinson's Batman, so on and so forth. And of course, here Matt McCloy has talked about that, about how Abrams and Matt Reeves are best buds from way back when and all that type of stuff. So they might have had a deal. And that was probably the idea going forward, that there would be a new Superman under Abrams, and they would see how that goes on, and Henry Cavill will have to move on with something else. But then here comes Snyder came back, and so now you got to wait. And that's basically the conclusion of this article. Again, stuff from Grace Randolph discussing it in her context. In her context, she had actual Zack Snyder on her show, so there might be something to this. So there were things like that. Snyder Cut's the big win, and then also there's The Rock wanting to do Black Adam, and he wants Henry Cavill Superman involved in that. And so there's probably a done deal for his cameos, but he hasn't exactly signed on to a new Superman project. So for Abrams' part, he's waiting like everybody else, and whether he likes it or not, to see how Snyder Cut plays out. And if it does very well, that pretty much all but locks in Henry Cavill for Superman. And if he wants to do a Superman project, he's going to have to work with Henry Cavill on that. Although I think there's possibilities to do a separate franchise. I mean, these things take time, and as time goes by the time his project gets underway, there could have already been a Henry Cavill Superman, because I'm guessing Snyder's going to be heavily involved in this, especially if they do a Superman connected with all of the Snyder Cut plot details and whatnot. And Cavill is interested in continuing what was begun in Man of Steel, and that's what he would be interested in. So if JJ just wants to direct a Superman movie, but he wouldn't necessarily be in charge, he would have to deal with what Snyder wants, I suspect. But it all depends on how well Snyder performs with his Justice League. So that's where they are. And but after what Abrams has done lately with Bad Robot, his last good movie was the 2009 Star Trek movie. Every other thing after that has just been awful. So, boy, and then his buddies that came out of his Bad Robot company, you know, certainly Kurtzman and Lindelof, they just, oh, it's terrible. And so I'm not optimistic about what he would bring to Superman, especially when you think back to his Superman flyby script way back when. Ooh, those ideas are terrible. So I don't know. That's why I think it may be better if he had his own Superman project on the side. The real scandal here is that there should have been 2 Superman films already done by now, and their time's a wasting. And regardless of what Snyder Cut does, they should still go with the Henry Cavill Superman project, because he's very popular among the fandom for that role, and people want to see more of him in it. And that's where the money is. That's where you go, and you're wasting time with it. And regardless of how the Snyder Cut performs, you could still have great Superman films going forward. Again, you panicked over Batman versus Superman and all of that, and then Justice League, and ruined Justice League over your panic. Meanwhile, you had Wonder Woman follow Batman vs. Superman, did very well. Then, even after you screwed up Justice League, you had this very successful Aquaman film that nobody saw coming. So, get Superman on the schedule. Get that underway. Don't just sit there and wait for Snyder Cut. Regardless of how it performs, because the demand is there for this. The other demand, of course, would be the Batman film, and with Leto coming back as Joker, there might be something to that. That's another thing. You should just go ahead and pursue it. But everything revolves around Snyder Cut, and I think they're just going to wait and see what it does. I can understand it to some extent with some projects, and also the direction they want to go and what stories they want to do. If it bombs, they're not going to want their Superman and Batman stuff to be too attached to it anymore. That part of it I could understand to a certain extent, but you don't have forever. And I just think a Superman film should have been long overdue. There are things that could ruin this and shake up the cart, and they've already sort of done that with something like this. Inked a deal with, co-founder of Black Lives Matter, self-proclaimed Marxist, and an anti-cop bigot. That's what it is. Look, she doesn't cite specific instances that she once dealt with, or a specific police officer who got away with something terrible, or that sort of thing. No. It's the whole idea. That's broad brush. That's bigotry. And you brought her in. So now you got to pay her, and she's going to produce this propaganda crap with under your name. And because you live in that woke cult of Los Angeles, you've done this. This is almost akin to the stupid cuties thing, which actually is a terrible act in and of itself. I mean, this woman was a part of Black Lives Matter, hasn't really engaged in any destruction or murders herself per se, but she does stir up the pot, and all of that. But and then whatever project she produced would be pretty. Look, nothing good's going to come of it, and all of that. But Netflix is well established, and they're probably going to weather the storm that disgusting movie did. Whereas HBO Max has just started, and you've got problems. You didn't have Roku and Fire Stick and all that ready to go. So you're stumbling already, and then you throw this in there after these violent riots and where people were murdered, a lot of whom were black. And it's fine, huh? Yeah. So things like this can bring it all down. And yeah, I better hope that Snyder cut is really good. So, oh, well. So we'll see how it works out soon. But, yeah, there's all kinds of stumbling blocks here and there. And that's unfortunate. But we'll see how it goes for Snyder Cut. He's bringing the band back for the most part. So it's interesting, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, Jamie Lannister's going to be Green Lantern, huh? You got to be gay now, so... that's just a rumor, don't know, but yeah, he could do the part. Anyway, all right, there you go. That's DC EU in review for now. Thanks for watching.
Watching and listening, say why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores and have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at radiomisfits.com, and you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.